Please.
Flores, turn this up. Thank you very much.
I had 3 seconds and I had the whole thing. I was supposed to have 3 minutes.
Guess who's back?
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
It's the JR Show from Studio 99 in the American General Media Complex. On air at News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. Online at KernRadio.com. Now, here is your host, JR.
Top of the day to you. This is the JR Show. I am your host, JR Flores. You're listening to Kern Radio. Check us out online at KernRadio.com. You can download that Kern Radio app to your smart device and take us on the go wherever you are. If you're driving down to Hollywood or something, and plus you can watch us streaming live on YouTube. That's right. Head over to YouTube and search up Kern Radio, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Come along with us every single day. We're live. Watch us in all our glory at 2:05. You can also find us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and X. Just look up Kern Radio. We're broadcasting live from the Kern Radio studios, powered by Adaptive Networks for all your IT needs. Give them a call, 661-241-0638. That is Adaptive Networks. We got a great show for you lined up today. We have a guest, comedian, actor, philosopher. Probably didn't know that.
Call him what he is. He's an astronaut.
He's also, yes, and an astronaut, and a what's the other all-time? Well, I guess technically Buzz Lightyear is all, but another kid favorite. He's also Santa.
Yes, he is Santa Claus.
Technically, we will speak with actor, comedian Tim Allen coming up at 2:30. He's got a comedy show, stand-up comedy coming up in Fresno. We'll talk to him not only about the show, but all the other shows he's been a part of, like we just mentioned. Buzz Lightyear, Santa Claus, Tim the Toolman Taylor from Home Improvement.
You say he was Bob the Builder before Bob the Builder.
Technically, yes, he was. He was, what's the other one? He did The Last Man Standing. He also started, as we do here on radio, he was a disc jockey in college, and he also did a stint in prison. You didn't know that about Tim Toolman Taylor. He did some time in jail. We'll talk to him about all of those things coming up later in the program at 2:30. We also have some local news to discuss. As I mentioned, what was this, a week ago when I said that Maya Hernandez, Mother of the Year, the one that went in to get her Brazilian butt lift and left the kids in the car in the middle of July in Bakersfield, where one, unfortunately, died. She was in court about a week ago, and I said it then, because, it was a really short hearing. And they said, we'll be back to discuss things further in about a week. And I said, because the whole thing now is whether or not they were going to retry her. Remember, she got the hung jury for murder for leaving the kids in the car. And the whole thing was whether or not we were going to retry her. Well, they were back in court, I believe, today. I will tell you what came of that. And it's exactly what I said was going to happen last week. A deal has been made. I will explain. Not only that, there's more information on the physical education teacher up in Tehachapi. I was reading this story last night while I was in Hollywood, and it's got bad written all over it. It made me question, and I shouldn't even say this, whether or not Kathy Scribner works for the Tehachapi Unified District, because boy, oh boy, are they going to be or are in some trouble. I will explain about that. And what was the other thing that came up? I'm trying to remember. I think that was all. But no, I was in Hollywood last night. Went out there. Thank you, Cassie Biddle. Filled in yesterday for me while I was out in Hollywood. Cassie does a fine job as always. Very knowledgeable. People think, oh, it's Cassie. She runs Casey's Steakhouse. Yes, she does. And she does a very darn good job doing that. Not only that, but she has the Stockyard right next door. You can go check them out Thursday, Fridays, and Saturdays. So she does that. But not only that, and she's not just that business owner that's going to complain about, the homeless or this or that or this situation. She is in there. She's involved. She's engaged. She's a part of the Downtown Business Association, block to block captain, making sure that things are getting done for her and her other business owners. She's a part of the planning commission of the city of Bakersfield. She is very, very knowledgeable about the goings on in the city. And that's why it's always an honor and a pleasure to have her fill in for me. So I want to thank her for doing that yesterday. And again, going to Casey's Steakhouse, I'll probably be in there either tonight or tomorrow with my daughter. It's our new favorite weekly or bi-weekly thing to do. But thank you to Cassie Biddle. As I was in Hollywood with my daughter, we went down to check out a show at the Wiltern. Freya Sky. Probably not all of you probably just went, huh? Who, JR? Yeah, I know. But check it out. Just a bit of advice to parents out there. Sometimes it's not your flavor of music. Sometimes it might not be the movie you like. Sometimes it's not the book you would pick out. Sometimes it's not the place you wanted to go and eat, or sometimes it's not the game you wanted to play. But as a parent, just at least show some interest in the things that your kids like and are involved in. And so my daughter, she likes this singer. Her name is Freya Sky. She's on Disney and she does Disney movies, and now Disney owns her and they make her make music. She does music. Really great singer, by the way. Great voice. She's only 16. Kid. She's got a bunch of sold out shows. She was in Hollywood last night. Again, it's not my flavor of music, but it was a great show. The Wiltern, if you've ever been, is beautiful. I hadn't been in that building, and it was I felt like the old man. Thankfully, I wasn't the only dad in there, right? There was a bunch of teenage. They were probably the ages ranged from 5 to 17. And then you had your dads and your moms hanging out towards the back of the crowd. But I walked in, and I hadn't been in the Wiltern probably in 20 years. I think was the last time I saw a show there, and it just took me. It made me feel old because it reminded me that I hadn't been there in a while, and then it made me realize that now that I'm back, I'm not here to see a show. That I'm taking my 9-year-old daughter to the place that I was in 20 years ago. So it was a pretty big flashback for the kid, but it was great. She had a great time. Every time we go to these concerts, and it's such a joy just meeting people when we're out. And typically we'll go to Christian concerts or whatever, and you expect to meet good people there, right? They're Christians. Most of them are good people anyways. But we go to this show, and she's making friends in line. They're trading bracelets. They're singing songs, all waiting in line to go into this concert. We met the artist before. She did a meet and greet at a boba place. We went over there, met people in line. All super cool people. These kids, they're all super nice. Everybody was getting along. And it's just the experience. Being able to provide that for my daughter just made me happy. Driving home in the rain last night. Yeah, JR doesn't like to go 45 on the freeway. But from the time we walked out of the Wiltern till I got to just probably the other side of the Grapevine was rain. And then I was expecting, because the weather forecasting said, hey, watch out, it's sleet in Fraser Park. It was clear as a whistle by the time I got there. That was the easiest part of the drive. I was expecting that to be the hardest part of the drive. No, the hardest part of the drive was when I left the wheel turn and it was pouring before I even got back to the 101. There was floods in Hollywood in the streets. It was crazy, but it was all worth it. Not only that, some of the people that we met, I met this woman, Angela. She was with her daughter, and they were from Arizona. And we met them at the boba place, just talked briefly in line, whatever. And then I saw them down in line at the venue. Now, if you haven't been to Hollywood in a while, you think homelessness is bad here? It is even worse in LA and Hollywood. When we were at the boba place, there was somebody just passed out next to the boba place. All these kids lined up to meet Fred's guy, and there's a homeless guy just sleeping right there with his cart and everything next to him. Then when we're at the venue, obviously we're on Western and Wilshire. They're everywhere. And at one point, this guy walks, and he's probably about 6 foot, seems irate, asking people, somebody just give me $5. Just give me $5. And nobody's paying attention to him. Again, it's a bunch of teenage girls and younger. So nobody's paying attention. And he starts to get a little louder and a little more agitated and upset that nobody's paying attention to him. And so I turn, and another dad turns, and we both kind of look at each other like, okay, we're going to have to step in here. And before we could do that, this lady, Angela, that I had met at the boba place prior, had also witnessed what me and the other father were witnessing. And she walks up to him calmly, and she starts to talk to him. And I can hear the conversation, but just very lightly, but I'm close enough that if he starts to get crazy with her, I can jump in quick enough to stop it. But at the same time, I could see and hear and feel the compassion that she had for this man. And she just kept talking to him, and she offered him the money, and she said, hey, I'll give you $5, but here's what you're going to do for me. You're going to keep walking. You're not going to bother anybody else in this line. And I need you to just walk, because this isn't a good place for you to be right now. And she explained, and there was a point where I could see in his face, listening to her, that there was somebody inside there. And the fact that she was talking to him like a human and with compassion, that he stopped. He stopped being irate. He stopped being upset. And he wasn't particularly maybe happy with the things he was saying or the offer that she was giving him, but he stopped and he was listening. And at one point she said, now Pinky promised me this is what you're gonna do. And they made a pinky promise, and she handed him the $5, and he walked down the street, and he left the area. Now, I'm not condoning paying these people to leave us alone. That's not the point of the story. It's the way that she chose to handle that certain situation in that time. Because me and the other dad could have very easily stepped in, got tough guy with him, and who knows where it may have went. And so the way that she handled it, and I went up to her after, I just tapped her on the shoulder. I said, hey, I don't know if you remember me from the boba place. And she's like, oh yeah, I do. Yeah. So I just wanted to say, you know, saw what you did back there, and it touched me, and I just wanted to let you know that I could see that God was working in that situation. And she said, "Yeah, thank you." I said, I was close enough just in case something happened, but I know that God had your back." And she's like, "Yeah, Jesus has us like that." And that's why I felt comfortable stepping into that. And it was just one of those moments. It just, I don't know, it just hit me, and just I felt like I needed to at least point it out to her that, hey, somebody noticed that, and that's maybe one way we can all start to just make a difference. I don't know, but it was pretty cool. We had a great time. My daughter had a great time. She got to meet this kid. I call her a kid. She's only 16. Freya Sky. She enjoyed it. She got an autograph. We stayed around after town, got by the tour bus so she could meet her again. It was a great time. My daughter is at school now, very tired, and didn't want to. Kudos to her. I'm going, Dad. I'm not going to break my perfect attendance. Good for you, kid. Good for you. On the other side, we will talk about some not so good parenting. Maya Hernandez was in court again today. She got a plea deal. We'll tell you what it was for, what she'll end up serving, and all that stuff. I'll also talk about the physical education teacher in Tehachapi as we're getting new details of what exactly the district knew and when they knew it. This guy should have never been working on that campus or any campus. Plus our guest, comedian, actor, Tim the Toolman, Buzz Santa Taylor Allen. I think I got them all in there somewhere. Tim Allen, comedian, brings a comedy show to Fresno. We'll tell you when you can attend and about his life in the business. All that coming up. It's the JR Show. It's Kern Radio. We'll be right back.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. The Ralph Bailey Show. Weekdays from 3 till 6 p.m.
It's that.
Yes. What girls? Oh, if you want to, I don't care. Sure. Yeah, there's Silent Treatment, Golden Boy. Golden Boy is pretty good. What, Silent Treatment or Golden Boy? Silent. Ah. It's loud. What's up, Chris Orr? Ray. I can't wait until Lily takes up ballet. JR in a tutu. Hey, we'll do it. I'll put on a tutu for my daughter. That kid knows I'll do anything for that kid. Anything for that kid. My headphones are all jacked up. Is there anything that you guys want me to ask Tim the Toolman Taylor? Go ahead and drop in your questions. Did you guys know he spent time in jail? I had no idea. My boy did 3 years. I'll ask him about his stint in jail, but I won't because I was reading. He rolled over. He rolled over, y'all. He got popped. He got busted for cocaine, and then he rolled over, and he gave up. He gave up names. We don't look too fondly on that in the hood, but it worked out for my boy Tim. If you guys got any questions for Tim Allen, just drop them in the comment and chat, and I'll see what I can do in asking him. Did you guys have a good? Did it rain crazy here? I heard it rained crazy. I heard the wind was crazy. I didn't see or feel any of that. We didn't get too much in Hollywood, except for, like I said, when we got out of the World Turn, there was maybe a light sprinkle that started, and then it kind of tapered off, and we were hanging around by the tour bus so we could meet this kid. And just as she comes out to get into her tour bus, and she's saying hi to all the kids that were there and signing autographs and taking her time with everybody. Kudos to her because she didn't have to do that. But at that point, the rain really started to pick up, and she's out there in the rain signing autographs and taking pictures with these little kids. So it was really cool to see her do that for the kids when she could have very easily jumped on the bus. But then it was just pouring. I mean, it was just somebody turned the faucet on, and just getting from the Wiltern, which is on Western and Wilshire, to get to the what is it, the 110? I think it's the 110, 101, Hollywood Freeway, 170. Getting from there to the back to the freeway was probably the worst part of the drive. And then once we got on the freeway, I probably didn't go over 55. And anybody that knows me knows I don't drive. Should admit this. I don't drive 55 on surface streets, much less on the freeway. Oh man, that's how bad it was. If your boy slows down to 55, you know it's bad.
KERN. Now, back to the JR Show.
Oh, we don't talk anymore, talk anymore. Give me the silent treatment. The least you could have done was give me a reason. Can ignore the way I hate you for leaving. Too much free time staring up at the ceiling.
I could sing the whole song if you guys want me to. I just won't. I could.
Good.
When you listen to it enough times, every morning when we're getting ready for school, every time we're taking a shower, every time you get in the car, you're going to know the songs. But again, get interested in what your kids like. Even if it's not your type of music, they will love you for it later. Want to get into this Maya Hernandez case. You guys remember the mother of the year that left her kids in the car last summer. One ended up dying. The other one thankfully lived, is now in child protective services, which we don't know if that's much better. But she went to trial and they were trying to get her for murder. They got a hung jury. And then it was, all right, back to the drawing board. Do we want to try to go again and get her for murder? Do we want to try to get her for manslaughter, which I believe her defense all but basically conceded the point. Yeah, it was a mistake. She screwed up, but it wasn't murder. Well, we've learned today that there's a plea agreement has been reached in the case. Maya Hernandez on Wednesday pleaded no contest to involuntary manslaughter and admitted to all enhancements filed with the charge on the 2 counts of child cruelty, which she was previously convicted. The murder charge was dismissed. Hernandez, who is 20 years old, will be sentenced to 15 years in prison on March 5th. I 15 years is a long time. And I never, as emotional and horrendous as this case is, I can't say that it was murder. Definitely manslaughter, definitely child cruelty, definitely terrible parenting, but murder is a stretch. So I as much as I want to say she should do more time for the death of her 1-year-old son, the law is the law, and 15 years is probably what's accurate for manslaughter. So Maya Hernandez, 15 years in jail. You guys can chime in if you like. 661-842-5376. Coming back after the break, we'll talk to comedian Tim Allen about his upcoming show in Fresno, plus his time in show business. This is the JR Show. We'll be right back.
with SRN News. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. President Trump met privately with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Wednesday and says he pushed Israel to back continued U.S. talks with Iran on a nuclear deal. Netanyahu has been a frequent visitor to the White House during Trump's second term and spent nearly 3 hours at the White House this time. Trump said their meeting ended with no decision, but that he'd insisted negotiations keep going. House Republicans are rushing ahead with the SAVE Act legislation that would impose voter ID requirements ahead of the midterm elections. The bill coming to a vote on Wednesday is a Trump administration priority aimed at scrutinizing ballot access. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 66 points, the Nasdaq dropped 36, the S&P 500 down a fraction. This is SRN News.
From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Not guilty, says Jada Renee, the woman accused of poking a knife into another woman outside a bar on 19th Street this weekend after an argument between the two inside the bar. She faced a judge for the first time Tuesday and is expected back in court next month. Some kids at Centennial High School are in trouble with the school and the law after pictures of a gun on campus were posted on social media Friday. School police say they are facing discipline and criminal charges, and the gun was found off campus. The annual Bakersfield Police Motor Competition date is March 14th. Officers and personnel will qualify the day before, and if you and the fam want to come out, the event is free. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on FM 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
The Armstrong and Getty Show, weekdays noon to 2 on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. Now, back to the JR Show.
Welcome back. It's the JR Show. It's Kern Radio. Check us out online, kernradio.com. Go to YouTube and search up Kern Radio. We're streaming live right there. Plus, we're on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and X. Just look up Kern Radio. If you recognize that song, you'll recognize our next guest. Whether you know him as Tim the Toolman Taylor or Santa, maybe Buzz Lightyear, or one of the other many characters he plays, or whether you don't know him as a college radio disc jockey or inmate number 55736, he will be bringing his stand-up comedy show to the Warner Theater on March 7th in Fresno. He is none other than comedian Mr. Tim Allen. Good afternoon, sir.
Wow, you just scared me.
What? What do you mean? How so?
Okay, it's kind of a broad spectrum. Anyway, good to talk to you.
I think that covered all the bases, did I not?
I kind of covered all the bases except Grignac. You got to remember Grignac, the rock monster in Galaxy Quest, the guy that almost got killed by a rock monster.
That's right. And not only that, but philosopher as well, right?
That was my major in college. Yeah.
See, I do a little bit of research, sir. I got to figure it out. Hey, you are bringing your comedy show back to Fresno on March 7th. Before we get into that, though, how did you get started in comedy? I know you were doing stuff. I read it was sort of like a bet by your friends and a dare.
Well, I had kind of struggled to put my feet down after my incarceration, and I really was struggling with anything. And then there was these comedy clubs sprouting up around the Detroit area, and it was called the Comedy Castle. And up there and I go, I could do that. And then a good friend of mine, Eric, had, and he'd come in and he'd say, well, why don't you do it? And he just said, well, I could, who cares? New talent night, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, and it just was almost like a kid's day. I dare you. And I go, dare me? And then all the rest of the day I went, shoot, I wish he hadn't done that. And I wrote kind of a 20-minute piece, and I was smart enough to have a beginning that was funny and the end that was the strongest part. So as one of the old veterans said, leave them laughing. They won't remember the lousy parts in the middle. They'll just remember the last thing you said. And that was pretty true. I came up and hit hit a couple of infield base hits, as I called. So the other guys were strike out. Every now and then there was a home run. Dave Coulier was one of the other guys at that, and he hit a home run
from Full House.
A bunch of his stuff was really character driven and just great stuff. But I had good success, and that's how it started.
Yeah, and then you made your way around different cities doing comedy, and then the call comes, and how do you get Tim the Toolman Taylor? I mean, all the grunts and the
that I did. I started doing. I started doing that,
which I grew up on, by the way, because that was like early teens for me, and it was just hitting. For Home Improvement was great.
It was a great musician, band member. In a way, Bob Seger saw me a couple times in Detroit and loved comedy. And he said, make yourself a hit, a hook to a comic, a hit song. And the grunting came out of a frustration with, I did a corporate show at Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company in Akron, Ohio, and no one was listening. They were all eating dinner. And I just started mimicking what I was hearing from the audience. The audience was, and I said, how about I just talk like you guys? And it got their attention. They started laughing at it. I go, wow, I think I got something here. And I knew enough to turn it into that. And also, I traveled around other comics talking about variety of things, but nobody was talking about mowing lawns and fixing lumber.
Just manly really, things.
With that, it just do it. Or I love home improvement. I love outdoor selling equipment, which I did. Outdoor equipment, which is Last Man Standing, and I love the car business, which is now I'm shifting gears.
Yeah, that just wrapped up its second season.
Yeah, all of that is who I am, and I said I'm just a doer. I'm fascinated by people that get stuff done. Right now, my fascination is with plumbers. I just don't get it. It seems really simple. It's not really simple. You got to turn the water off to start messing with the pipe. Got to figure out where to turn the water back on. Why is it so hard for plumbers? Why don't they make it easier to access the sink? I find it horrifying how difficult it is to get the sink. Because my sink right now I'm learning, and I'll screw it up. That's Tim Taylor. I'll screw it up before I fix it.
Well, we got to try it ourselves first, Tim, before we call in the professionals.
Oh yeah, baby.
Come on,
give it a shot.
Men. But you screwed it up, didn't you?
Yeah, oh, you bet.
So how does that come into a show, though? Do you approach ABC? Does ABC come to you?
I came out here, and it was one of these. The Showtime special, Men Are Pigs, showed it to my younger daughter. I just showed it to her. And it's a really good show. I have a really good team at the time, and it was a big hit for Showtime. And then I started going out and doing much bigger venues. And then I came out here, still auditioning for Jim McCauley for the Tonight Show, and it just wasn't happening because I was so used to doing an hour 10 headline or big concerts that they didn't see how I could do 5 minutes, which really was weird.
Okay, but at that time you were doing stand-up already. You had a special, you had a TV show, and you still couldn't get on the Tonight Show.
No, what TV show was to come.
Okay.
And I came out here, and the Disney folks invited me to the studio and said, we have a deal for you. They saw the Showtime special. We'd like you to do Turner and Hooch at the TV show. And I said, well, that's Tom Hanks, the actor, which I didn't know him that well then. He's a good friend of mine now. And they said, I wouldn't want to do a comedy part of it to a guy who already did it. And then they thought Dead Poet Society offered, that was number 2. And I go, that's Robin Williams. I don't want to do a show based on another comedian.
They wanted you to do TV shows based on those 2 movies?
Right. And
wow.
They do that all the time. And I just said, no, I'm not interested. And they just looked at me and they said, well, we're talking about a development deal with you. And I go, I understand. You want to get in business with me? I got to see a wedding ring first. And they laughed and they offered some money. And then I said, let me think about it. And the look on their faces was rarely do you get, at that point, you get offered a big deal with Disney. And then I flew back home to Detroit. I was still living there. And I got a call from the brass, and they said, are you
Are you crazy?
You know what we offered this on Monday. This was like Wednesday, and I said, "Yeah, I got it." And they said, "We've never had anybody walk away from us." And I said, "I got to be honest with you, and I don't mean to be rude. You don't have any idea what kind of money I make on the road, and you underestimate that. You'd have to offer me a lot more money, and plus, I don't want to do any of those
shows you offered."
Well, they said, "What would you want to do?" I said, "Well, if I had to do something, I'd like to parody This Old House with Bob Villa and Norm Abrams."
Right.
And I said, "But I want to do it backwards. I want to be the host that is always going, oh, shoot, I got it all broken. Anyway, Al, you take care of that. I just want to be a guy that always breaks it." And then they kept looking at me, had no idea what I was talking about. And I don't want 2 girls and a boy in a Hollywood thing. I want 3 boys. And I want a neighbor who I can't see. In the Midwest, I had an acre house. And I still to this day don't know what he looks like. He waves at me and we talk really loud. They couldn't do it that way, so they did it the way Wilson was, where I have a neighbor that I don't really ever see.
We never see Wilson.
Never see Wilson. So they put that out as an outline and used my grunting and a lot of the stuff from my show. And Matt Williams and his company, Wind Dancer Productions, who was doing Roseanne, they asked him to take a look at me. We all got along. They got it right away. They didn't question it, and they wrote the first draft, which is the first 3 shows are a lot of my material, and that became the same thing that came within my regular stand-up, is that people had never heard kind of I don't like to put it that way because there's a lot of people that like plumbing and electrical stuff. You don't have to be in the Midwest to appreciate that, but that's what it was.
Wow. And then from there, the hits just came out. I mean, you that goes in, you're doing in the middle of all of that. They come in and they say, "Hey, we got another idea for you. What do you think about putting on a red suit and about 6 hours of makeup?"
Well, they didn't tell me all that.
They didn't include that part in the pitch.
I was just doing what I was told because I was a stand-up. Didn't understand how hard it was to do sitcoms where I thought you had to memorize the 49 pages, but it changed every day. So it was like strange for me. And that Santa Claus originally was written as a little darker movie where he didn't slide off the roof. I shot him because I thought it was a burglar. And the kid said, "You just killed Santa." And I said, "Well, he shouldn't be on the roof." I thought, and then he hands me the card. And the Disney said, "We love this script." I did too. It was like top to bottom, one of the better scripts I've ever read. And they said, "But we can't start the show with murdering Santa."
Yeah, you can't murder Santa like
and
that.
I said, "Well, you kill the parents in all your other movies,
right?
So why not?" So they softened it up a bit, and they never told me about that. They didn't realize how 6 hours of makeup and how heavy that stuff was, and how it was. I got rashes and all sorts of infections because it was in there early on. They didn't really realize how long the actors are like, slave labor. They'll do whatever they tell us to do. And I don't think I heard it, and I know I wasn't supposed to be in that 11, 12 hours. It was not good.
But you loved it so much, you went back and made 2 more after that.
Yeah, and then they did the series for Disney Plus. They've gotten better at, if I don't have to be in it that long, I can get a much quicker application, and then because it goes bad like bread pretty quick. And the Disney streaming was about as good as they can do for much less time, so I can be on the set, probably in 2 or 3 hours.
And then the next iconic role hits a year later, and you're the voice of the iconic character Buzz Lightyear.
Oh yeah.
I mean, did you know at the time when you started doing that movie what that movie and series would become? Because now you're going into Toy Story 5.
Yeah, Toy Story 5 we're all finished with, and it'll be out June 12th. And I said, I was in a room, and I went to film school in the Midwest, and I saw John Lasseter's work, the first computer animated, that tensor lamp that's in the logo. That was the original one that I saw. I think he was out of Chicago where he went to school. And I saw it I said, that's something. I didn't find it alarming. I found it interesting. Like I used to race Trans Am cars for Ford. And we were just in the middle of sequential gears, which are those shifter paddles on the wheel from stick shifts. And the old school guys, I'm never going to change. And I said, you know what? I don't mind this sequential thing. It's quicker and has some advantages, disadvantages also. Don't feel the car as much. That said, the studio animators, the regular cell animators, saw the first draft, the first run of Toy Story. And I'm in that room with everybody, and you have the grumbling cell animators, and they're right. It doesn't have that richness. It's like analog music compared to digital music. There's a richness to analog, LP, vinyl records. On the other hand, there's some startling crispness to it. Christmas, no, not crisp, like crispy cracker, Christmas to it. I can't get the term right. And I was the one, 3 or 4 of us in the room that said, but it was also a beautiful story. Forget about how it looked. I think it could have done in stick animation.
And it would have worked. All right. Yeah.
The powers that be thought it should go right to video because it's just too weird looking. And there was a couple of us, I said, I think you're making a big mistake. This could be very big because it's so funny and so startling to look at. And the people will get past at it. But once you get used to seeing digital animation, I'm not sure we're going to go back to cell animation anytime soon. I think there's just like with LPs, I think there's a market for it.
Yeah.
I saw this thing is brilliant.
And it is, and it's changed the way that we've done animation now. Working in voice acting has to be much different than working on a sitcom and doing stand-up, right?
There's no way to even describe it. It's almost, boy, I don't have I'm looking for a positive word. It's very, very challenging.
Voice acting?
Now, this is the 5th one I've done, and I did morning radio starting out in college, and I've done a lot of voiceover work, and I've learned from some of the best how to make reading alive. And it's that background helped me so that I didn't need the other actor to talk to me, because in voiceover work, you're
by yourself.
You're by yourself.
In a studio.
So I was used to that. And so Tom and I become very close friends, as some of the other cast members too. And I said, I've never worked with him. He's never been. We've read twice for an event. We all read it as one group. It's startlingly fun to see the other person. In the sessions, you can't have the other voice in there because they have to parse it out. It's a very specific art form, and it's not. It's challenging. It's not. There's only a couple times it's enjoyable when they let me. I don't know if that's the right word. Ad lib and I make them laugh with lines in it that Mayor in the first 2. I don't even want to highlight them where I ad libbed a line, and they don't generally like it because they've kind of already storyboarded what you're doing.
Right.
When you ad lib, that means they got to
go back, reanimate, get the lips to move right.
Yeah, it's kind of like it. Oh, great! Oh, good.
That's funny. Thanks. More work. Oh my goodness. Well, I know you're short on time. I don't want to take too much of your time. I'd love to be able to talk a whole myriad of things like philosophy, and I know you've been reading the Bible a bunch. I've been reading the Bible the last 5-6 years. I've heard you speak on that a whole bunch of times and getting into your faith, which I think.
I wanted to say this out loud because I can't. It's Baal, Balan, or it's the guy that his donkey talked to him on the way. He was supposed to defame the Jews from coming from the desert, and it was Balal. Somebody asked me, said, this has been a 19-month journey of reading it, because I've never read it. In philosophy, you mentioned it. I'm a church-going kid since we still go. It's hard to describe how different it was when I read this. I went, I've never read any of this. How come no one told me about this? That there's 613 commandments. There's not just
it's
10.
Not 10, yeah.
What the hell? How come I never knew this? And then there's 2 stories. I hope I get them right. Is Judith and Edith, there's 2 incredibly dramatic stories about this woman that beheads the king of Assyria.
Mm-hmm.
I go, how come no one told me about this story, and it's this one, but the one guy goes to Drew. Someone's going to know what it is. Bilal. And I keep forgetting the story, but I reread it where his donkey told him that Michael or Gabriel standing right in front of me saying, "You got to stop." And he goes into town, changes his mind. He goes, "I was wrong. The Jews are great people." And then, of course, I make a joke about it. The people in town go, "Who told you this?" "My donkey." And they go, oh, okay. Okay, everybody, let's back off a minute because he's now talking to his donkey.
Yeah, we're supposed to believe that guy.
I don't think it was meant to be funny. And I said, my larger question was, what saved my life so many times has been my sense of humor. And in one of my favorite bits on stage is that if God created everything, not an if, we exist in this temporary situation called life, emanated from non-temporary. Everything was designed. None of this was happen chance, which always gets me back to the funniest thing, and to me forever, still to me, is from Seven Boys, is the fart noise. That means God tried a whole bunch of different noises. He goes, no, that one, that French horn. We're going to do that. It could have been a whisper. It could have been a whistle. No, it's the funniest noise to men.
Yeah, up until a certain point, girls don't think it's funny anymore. And that's like 4 or 5, and that's it. Yeah.
My daughters never think it's funny. They still don't think it's funny. Football players, like when NFL parties, we laugh our butts off. It's nothing funnier than the noise of a fart. And this means the creator has a sense of humor.
He has to, and I'm sure he's laughing at a lot of your jokes. Do you find it hard to do stand-up comedy these days in the world that we live in, with the cancel culture and the politics?
I'm challenged by it, but however, I don't like the word but. However, I move past it by illuminating it, and I'll give. I don't like to give all these jokes away. It's like all of a sudden I noticed that I can't help it. It's comedy. I don't approve or disapprove. I stay out of my opinion of what immigration is doing. Is varied. What's all that I could think about is how it's destroyed the word ICE. You can't say ice in a sentence without people going, oh. Yeah. And I go, what does that mean for the waitress? Do you want more solid frozen water?
You want frozen water?
You want frozen water? And then what does the winter shows do? Disney on ice. On Earth, how are they going to deal with it?
I think that's a brilliant way to take it. So then you don't get into the dividing. You don't get people upset with you. You just make people laugh about the situation.
I can't do anything about it except my reaction to it.
That's right.
I literally admire and listening to, as difficult as it is, and this was the prophet, the Messiah, the Son of God, whatever term you want. Jesus said, just love other people.
Amen.
It sounds simple, like if you want to lose weight, don't eat. You don't want to drink, stop drinking. These are simple sentences. They're not simple to love people that hurt you, that literally changed. My dad was murdered by a drunk driver when I was 11. I've been carrying that hatred of that person until that woman, Erica Kirk, days after her husband was murdered, didn't know even much about him. And she said, I forgive the guy that murdered my husband. I just sat there and I went, whoa.
Yeah, that takes a lot. It takes a lot. It
changed my life. I said, love the sinner, not the sin. And that was another thing in the Bible I liked.
Mm-hmm.
People are people. You got to, that requires looking back in the past. You got to forgive some pretty weird shit.
Oh yeah. And it's a lot of it is not so much for the other person, but for you. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. It helps you let go. All right. Well, I've taken up way too much of your time. I know I have. I want to thank you for taking that time, Mr. Allen. And I hope to go see you. I know you'll be, like I said, in Fresno on March 7th. You got a bunch of other shows coming to California. Yep. You'll be in Stockton, I believe, here by the end of the month. So I hope to get you. And again, thank you so much for taking the time.
bet, buddy.
You've been a big part of me growing up, man, whether it was, like I said, teenager watching Home Improvement, of course, Toy Story, and all of it, man. It's great. So thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You bet, man. I appreciate your time.
All right. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Mr. Tim Allen, he'll be at the Warner Theater March 7th in Fresno, plus out in Stockton and later in February. Go see him. He's a crack up. Like I said, he helped me get through childhood. Laughter is the key. Got to take a quick break. Try to come back. Only have a second left. It's the JR Show. We'll be right back.
News Talk.
Ooh, Tim Allen said a bad word. Ooh, Tim Allen said a bad word. Ooh, Tim Allen said a bad word. Buzz Lightyear is cussing on my radio show. Santa Claus is cussing on the radio. Y'all hear that? Andy is coming. Andy's coming. He said, I love it. It's good stuff. That's good stuff. That was funny. Oh man, I could have talked to him for a long time. I could have talked to him for an hour. That was almost too easy. Yeah, I could have sat there and talked to that guy for another hour easily. So many things I wanted to touch on. I mean, he starts getting into religion and philosophy, and I was watching another interview with him that just so many roads I wanted to go down. I know we didn't have a whole bunch of time. I went entirely too long as it is. I mean, we're going to come back and have like a minute left, but so many other like I wanted to go and just go. But yeah, that was great. You guys go check out his show at the Warner Theater in Fresno. Like I said, I think he's also doing a show up in Stockton. Go check him out on Instagram. Go check out his YouTube page. I have all the information there. Ticketmaster, Live Nation, I believe the tickets are on sale. So get it. Tim the Toolman Taylor, Buzz Lightyear, Santa Claus. That's funny that they wanted him to do, and I hadn't heard that before. They wanted him to do TV shows, one with a future co-star Tom Hanks. That's crazy. But they knew they had a talent, and that's what's important. When a company knows that they have talent.
First month when you switch, that's pound 250 micro for an American wireless.
That is truly unprecedented. Pure talk.
The Armstrong and Getty Show, weekdays noon to 2 on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. Now, back to the JR Show.
Welcome back. It's the JR Show. We got about a minute. Want to thank Tim Allen for coming on. You guys can go over to Live Nation and check out tickets for that upcoming show in Fresno on March 7th. So go and check him out. Want to thank him for taking his time. I know we probably have less than a minute. So yeah, that's all you guys get. Stay tuned. Tomorrow's episode, we'll have the Bakersfield Chamber of Commerce stop by. Janelle Capra and Kimberly Price will come in and talk about the beautiful Bakersfield Awards. Nominations are coming up. Tell you how to get those in. And I'll get to that Tehachapi story tomorrow as well.
Oh yeah, before we leave.
What's that?
Did you hear James Vanderbeek pass?
James Vanderbeek Dawson. Not Dawson from Scott Show. Dawson's Creek.
They don't know him as Dawson. They know him as Billy.
48 years old. Do we know what he passed from?
Colorectal cancer.
Oh,
Stage 3.
Wow. Men, go get your colonoscopy. Get it done. It's important. Got to get out of here and make room for the Ralph Bailey Show. It's a Wednesday. Howard Marcus stops by. This is the JR Show. Lily, Dad loves you.
This is AM 1180 KERN. Green Acres. This is 96.1 FM. Bakersfield. Online at KERNradio.com.
News this hour from Town Hall on TV.
All right, you guys.
In Washington.
Did Chris? Hey, Chris, did you catch it on the radio? Chris wants to know if you bleeped out the
After meeting with Prime
the
Minister
S word.
Netanyahu for more than 2 hours, the president said it was a very good meeting, but nothing definitive was
All right, you guys, be good to each other. See you guys later. Oh yeah, catch me later on
whether or
TikTok.
not a deal can be consummated. Netanyahu has long pushed for stronger